The best experience as a rugby league player is running out in the Queensland jersey at Suncorp Stadium.
And Hunt goes himself as he can, and he picks up another one.
He goes Payne half. Oh, look at that.
He is big, he is strong, he can offload.
Here goes for Fido.
It would have been easier to stop a truck that was coming that way.
Hammerso, Tabuai, Fido.
It's hammer time.
Will now. She gets down low. She'll get it down this time. Victors in Women's State of Origin 2021.
Well, thanks for joining us here on Queenslander. This week, the big talking point, guys, the hip drop tackle for Pat Carrigan. Huge talking point. What did you think of it? Was it as bad?
Well, look, the intent is not there to hurt. And I think because of the outcome of the tackle and the injury, it's going to work against Pat. The hip drop, we've seen a few of them. Tom Flegler has done a couple this year, and they do look awkward at times. And unfortunately, this time for Pat, the injury to Hastings he'll have to pay a price. And I guess the NRL don't like the tackle, and this will probably be an opportunity for them to make a statement, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree, Lockie. I think they will make a very severe statement, which is not good news for Pat or the Broncos, but I didn't think that there was any intent in it. I guess Pat's the only one that can answer that, but it really did appear as though that there was absolute amazement, certainly with the injury itself. You could just see he was gobsmacked. The other two guys in the tackle were also absolutely amazed. They didn't see any problem with it, although they didn't play a part in the tackle itself other than just trying to get the player to the ground. But it really has opened a rather large can of worms that is going to go on for weeks, stroke months into the future.
Well, if he didn't get injured, Pat maybe gets a week. It's just unfortunate for obviously Jackson himself, that he's had an injury that rules him out for the rest of the year, and unfortunately, and it's not in the rule book that you sentence a player based on the outcome of an injury to her, but there's no doubt that they take that into account.
Yeah, no doubt, Lockie. I think you hit the nail on the head there. They will make the statement that that's not in the book. But certainly they will want to prove to the players that this won't be accepted any time into the future, and there could be quite a severe penalty coming up, ending the season for him, which will be extremely tough.
Yeah, just a disclaimer too, we're filming the show just before he goes to the judiciary, so we don't know the outcome of the result.
So...
Did you think Lockie referring it straight to the judiciary was a bit strange, considering he had no previous offences?
But it was referred straight to the judiciary after they knew the outcome of the injury, didn't they?
Yeah. It was identified by the bunker.
Yeah, I know. So I guess, when did we know that he actually had a broken leg?
Yeah, Sunday morning they did a scan. So it was about the same time.
Yeah, so... Again, if he didn't have a serious injury, I don't think it gets referred straight to the judiciary. It's just, again, they look awkward, and at times you go, oh, that's going to end badly. And unfortunately for both Jackson and Pat, this time it ended badly. So, I don't know what the penalty's going to be, but it's not going to be good for the Bronx.
And while you were looking at the vision before, he actually tries to hit him in the ribs.
Yeah.
But it actually gets pulled down due to the other two Broncos players in the tackle?
Yeah, I honestly believe that, Adam, that, he had intentions to drag him to the ground. There's no doubt about that. But he couldn't control the direction in which they were travelling. That was done by the other two Broncos who, when you had a look at the amazement on their face after they heard him screaming in agony, they sort of jumped up and, were fearful of a dangerous injury. So I think that when you get that many guys in a tackle, it's impossible for one to know exactly what the other one's going to do, to know what the other one's going to do. So it's, it's danger afoot there, but certainly I don't believe him. And having experienced, a little bit of company with him, asking him as you have as well, Adam, over the years. I found him to be a delightful young man. Certainly not one that's ever been involved in rubbish play on the field or tried to hurt somebody intentionally. And you know, he's feeling the pain for it now. Not as much pain, obviously.
As Jackson Hastings,
Jackson Hastings, but he certainly knows that he's probably going to be carrying this tag around for a little while now. One that he had no intention to be associated with.
Yeah, look, he's a good guy. He plays the game tough, but he's not a dirty player. So definitely, there's no intention there to hurt. You know, so I just hope that he's able to come back once his suspension's finished, and the Broncos are, you know, in a good position still.
How badly does this affect their top 4 aspirations? Because he's their forward leader.
Yeah, you know, I think that the team did well when Payne wasn't there, and I guess now it's an opportunity for those other forwards to then compensate for, you know, Pat not being there for how long we don't know yet. But, you know, I think that game was a bit of a wake-up call for the team, and, you know, they've got, I think, like a dress rehearsal to a semi-final this week. Roosters in Sydney. So I think this is a great opportunity to bounce back and give some confidence to the rest of those forwards.
Yeah. No, you're right, Lockie. I mean, it was a learning curve, that match. They weren't impressed with their performance. The coach wasn't impressed with their performance, and I think there are a lot of people quite surprised that Brisbane weren't able to go on and be able to get through a bit of a tough time throughout the course of the game and then be able to achieve a win. But that wasn't the case, and it's been a very painful one for them. And let's just see how they handle this over the next couple of weeks.
And just finally on the Carrigan case, the NRL made it obvious they don't like the hip drop tackle. They want to get it out of the game. Is a big suspension the way to go to eradicate it, Lockie?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think because of the outcome of the tackle,
it's fast-tracked it a bit.
Yeah, like we've been talking about the hip drop tackle for a little while now, and look, I don't know if they get coached to do it, but we've seen a few of them, and we've always sort of cringed every time they happen. This one was probably the worst fears that we all hold when these tackles happen. So again, no one wins out of it.
Another incident in that Broncos-Tigers game was a high shot on Kurt Capewell about 10 metres out from the line. It didn't go penalised, but he stayed down. He's copped a bit of criticism for that. What's your take on that? Is that criticism warranted or not?
I guess there's only one person that can answer that. Was he staying down, trying to milk a penalty, or to try and get further treatment from the referee? I guess it's just a matter of character. I mean, I drew a lot of criticism in my playing day in the early days when I took a dive a couple of times and probably found that I had more blokes that I was playing alongside hate me than the opposition, and certainly took to that. And you learn virtually every game you play in rugby league, and I think that's certainly one of those cases. Again, there's only one person that can answer the question here. Was he actually hurt? Was he serious about it at all? And that's Capewell himself. So it's a matter of just progressing on. I think that he'll probably learn. He won't be enjoying hearing us talking about it or reading about it in the paper. It's just one of those occasions. I think that was quite unfortunate.
Look, I don't like this being in our game, but players are incentivised to do it because of the bunker.
Yeah.
So, I think we maybe need to go back a couple of steps and just let the bunker officiate on tries, because if you allow the bunker to step in on these foul play issues, then unfortunately the players are incentivised to do it, and they'll do it to get a penalty. And there's no doubt that's what Kurt was looking to get was a penalty, and he did get hit high, but it was missed by the referee at the time. And if it was bad enough, then the judiciary should look after it after the game. But just if the on-field referee misses it, then let it go, and then you won't see guys being incentivised to lay down and milk a penalty. Because the other thing that happens too, and they've got to be careful, if they lay down to get a penalty, then you might have to go off and get a head assessment.
Yeah.
So that's 15 minutes off.
Yep.
So you walk on the line there, but again, if the bunker's not involved, then there's no incentive to lay down.
Yeah, there's two sides of the argument too. Like, if you don't want to get penalised, don't hit blokes in the head.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But if the on-field referee misses it,
yeah.
then or the touch judges misses it, then the bunker can't come in on that. The only reason why players will lay down if the on-field referee hasn't, seen it is they'll wait for the bunker to come into it.
Yeah, and give them some reward. It doesn't always happen, but if they're asking for that, well then you're tossing a coin which way it's going to come down.
Yeah, from one Queensland Origin back row to another, Jeremiah Nanai from the Cowboys, absolutely killing it. Gus reckons he's on track to be one of the best forwards of all time, which is huge praise from Gus. Doesn't usually give us Queenslanders a rap, but traditionally, Lockie, we see teenagers excel in maybe the outside backs or the halves. It's rare to see a young forward accelerate so quickly.
Yeah, I think it's 16 tries in 16 matches.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. He's an athlete, he's skillful, but he's also a footballer. And I think at the moment, the temperament looks really good. So, I guess the key will be, he's had a breakout year. It'll be maintaining that, next year and the year after that. But, yeah, there's a lot of positive signs in the individual and for the Cowboys.
Yeah, he's a wonderful worker. Got the opportunity to look at a lot of the Cowboys games and be able to appreciate his performance for that. He's not, as you say, he's not the biggest forward on the field, but you have a look at his performance week in, week out. He really does experience improved performances each and every game, and to be able to do it certainly at the highest level has been wonderful for him. And I think he's going to go on to bigger and better things. And he probably doesn't rate himself, any higher than one game at a time. Let's just take it easy. But his ability to be able to put himself in the right place at the right time has been very impressive for the ball carriers.
Yeah, well, his right foot against the Dragons the other day was lethal.
Yeah.
And then some of the tries he scored off kicks, and that's when everyone sort of took notice of him early in the year. He started scoring these freakish tries off kicks, whether it was on the ground, in the air. So he could easily play in the centres. He's that agile and skillful. He could play centres as well.
And now, do you think the Cowboys are the favourites to challenge the Panthers? Panthers obviously still well and truly above everyone else. Who do you see as the most likely, if you had to predict the grand finals tomorrow? Panthers play who? Is it the Cowboys or someone else?
Cows for mine. 6 weeks ago we were saying Storm and Panthers, but I think Cowboys have overtaken the Storm. They play a really good brand of football with the ball, and I think Reuben Cotter coming back. There's been a bit of knock on their defence the last month, but Reuben Cotter's that sort of workaholic in there and just cleans everything up. So I think he's going to have a big impact from without the football.
Jordan McLean will come back soon for them as well, another big boost.
Yeah, I was going to say, Adam, I've been having a look at Reuben Cotter, listening to some of the interviews that Nine have done with him, and it's been fantastic. He's still excited. Probably believes there's things to be further gained in the game at the moment, and he's still learning. But it's his performances, I think, that have impressed everybody. He just gets bigger and better with every time he carries the ball on the field, and he's as excited as I've ever seen a guy in a football game. He wants to go out there and produce something, and he knows that he's nowhere near his best yet. He still has plenty more to display, and I think that promises wonderful things for North Queensland fans.
Is he even more excited than Adam Jackson that the Cowboys have a chance this year?
Yeah, I'm trying to downplay it. We're just flying under the radar a little bit. Hopefully we get that prelim final up in Townsville. The place will go nuts.
Well, round 25 is Penrith versus Cowboys in Townsville. So that'll be, a precursor to what the finals are going to be.
Hopefully Ivan Cleary rests a few players for that game. We get our confidence
up.
Ivan...
Nathan's not back.
Yeah.
He's not back till the first week of the finals.
Potentially Luai as well, 50-50.
Yeah, Luai might be back, but
no Felty for the next 2 weeks. He's out with a hamstring injury,
Felty. So the excitement just subdued a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. But handy replacement, the hammer comes straight in.
Yep.
Another Origin player.
Not a bad bloke to have back there. Not bad. And I can back Lockie up on saying how excited he does get sitting next to him in the Nine newsroom.
Playing it down.
It's Cowboys, and then the Cowboys.
But one person you need to give a massive rap to, the coach, Todd Payten. Coach of the Year contenders, do you go him? Kevy's been excellent in rising the Broncos, and Craig Fitzgibbon in his first year coaching the Sharks. Who do you go?
As Cowboys coach, I think he's done a wonderful job, Todd. And the thing that I love, and people will say this is not the sort of character you are, he's quiet. He doesn't say things unless he believes that that they're extremely positive. He obviously works really well with the players and coaches them one-on-one to make sure that they become bigger and better footballers and better people as well. And they have experienced enormous benefit through his guidance so far this year, and I think it has been one of the main features behind the Cowboys' success.
So Payten for you gets the vote?
Oh, a mile in front.
Yeah, look, I think the three you mentioned are definitely the top three contenders. Probably at the moment I'd be going Payten into Fitzgibbon, into Kevy, but we've still got 5 games to go, and I reckon, you know, depending on how all those respective teams finish, it could change. But at the moment, Payten.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of people saying, well, hang on a minute, Cleary had Penrith, he's had them up front in charge of the competition. They've been leading the way virtually since the start of the year. I guess, you know, he certainly deserves that credit, but I think he really is going to get tested now with his son in a little bit of doubt. It certainly has created a little bit of drama over Penrith's chances, so time will tell.
Jason Demetriou has also done a good job. It's always difficult to inherit a team from Wayne Bennett. It's usually the bad luck charm.
I think the coach of the year often will be the team that's surprised the most, because most people had the Cowboys and the Broncos in the bottom 4.
Yeah.
So they've done cracking jobs, and I think you're about to go to this, but the 3 coaches have all recruited 3 halfbacks. In Reynolds at the Broncos, Hines at the Sharks, and Townsend at Cowboys. So there's more than just a coincidence about that. So those halfbacks need to sort of pat themselves on the back too.
You've almost got an extra coach on the field when you've got those guys running around. For who's impressed you the most then out of those 3? Who's had the biggest impact on the club? You could make a case for all 3.
Townsend. I think he's been fantastic. I mean, I've got to be honest and say when he was put forward, I thought, I'm not really sure whether this is the guy to take over. But, I'm gobsmacked by his performance this year. He's been fantastic, and he had some fairly big shoes to fill. Everybody was still having a look and marking him up against Jonathan Thurston's days at the Cowboys, and certainly while they're not close as footballers or style of footballers, I think it's been a wonderful performance for North Queensland.
Reynolds for mine. I think he's been huge for the Broncos, and I'm not taking anything away from the other 2. The expectation that came with Adam, he's had to manage and deal with that, and I think he's lived up to all the expectation, and he'll be critical to how far the Broncos go this year.
I'm going to go Nicho Hynes because nobody knew how he would go as a halfback. Was he a fullback? Was he a utility? Was he a halfback? So we can't seem too Cowboys biased. So I'll give Nicho Hynes a rap based on his Queensland Cup days playing for the Sunshine Coast Falcons. So thanks for joining us here on Queensland, and make sure you stay tuned to Wide World of Sports, all your action in the lead up to the NRL final series.